Hey everyone, hope you can hang around for a little longer. And thank you for the awesome participation with the questions in the previous panel. So today, what I'll dive into here with you is essentially sharing some of the learnings that we've had here at Katalon over the past 6 months as we've been working on our flagship AI-powered capability in True Test that I briefly mentioned before. So hopefully this will be very valuable because I know many of you are diving into the AI world and testing AI powered applications yourselves. You might be experimenting with some AI powered testing tools. So hopefully some of these learnings that I'll be sharing here are things that you are also seeing from your perspective. And if not, at least you can take some of those lessons learned and not repeat the same or not go down the same path that we went and then we learned and then we pivoted. Hopefully, it saves you some time. So with that, let me just do a quick a quick rundown on the journey that as we see the journey in AI in software testing. So in the past, we were focusing on mostly analyzing a bunch of data that has been generated by different sources. So, for example, to be more practical, we had a lot of test case results, right, that are generated after test execution, either through a CI/CD pipeline or other means. But then we would take different AI algorithms and apply that to those data sets, right? In this case, the test results in the example. And then based on those results, we would be able to predict predict different events. So predict if the defect concentration would be more, based on those results, would be more revolving around a particular functionality or a particular module in the application. So essentially taking data that has been generated in the past, analyzing it, and trying to find patterns that would help us gain insights, basically. And that was good. It was great, but it was the state of the art right at the time. Today, with the latest advancements in AI, specifically in generative AI, we're able to shift from that more reactive approach where we analyze data that has been generated in the past in order to try and predict, something that might happen or will likely happen based on past, historical results. We shift from that into more of a proactive approach where we are now effectively taking what we are learning from data and generating new output. And that's opening up, limitless possibilities. And we covered some of those in the previous panel. Where things are going, it seems, and again, no, there's nobody that can accurately predict anything when it comes to generative AI. Things are changing every day. But what we're seeing is that the most effective way of leveraging AI in software testing moving forward will be by focusing on helping testers achieve a state of hyperpredictivity. And similar to what developers are experiencing right now, and testers are lagging based on the reasons we discussed earlier. So not only the hyperpredictivity will obviously accelerate the testing lifecycle, hopefully, or with the goal of stop, testing from being the bottleneck, which is what usually happens. And then with testing not being the bottleneck anymore, then we're able to use our human power, right? Our human brain power to solve more complex challenges and think about. So translating what complex challenges could mean is we could think about additional scenarios, more complex test scenarios that we should be validating in the application, that we're not able to think through those today. So that's what we're kind of what we've seen, what we're seeing today, and what we believe will be the next evolution here in terms of AI and software testing. And we, based on our beta experience here with TrueTest, we're seeing a lot of, let me move my panel here to the other side. We're seeing a lot of not frustration. Well, I think we could say frustration in the sense that we've been talking about AI in testing and the possibilities of AI in testing for a long time, right? And people are reaching a point, we see that in our customer base, they're reaching a point of, okay, enough talking, show me something, right? Well, is it going to be only talk about possibilities forever, or are we actually going to reach a point where, hey, now we have something to show, results to show? So we're seeing the move, right, from those theoretical conversations to more of early results of applying AI or generative AI to different testing use cases. And one thing is, and I'll cover some of those in a little bit. But one thing that has become clear as part of that experience in running our beta program is that AI is clearly not a replacement for any activity that happens in the day-to-day for the tester. It's really a tool. It should be looked at as a tool, just like you have a hammer, you have a screwdriver. It's a tool that you're going to use as a tester to help you do your job better, faster, more efficiently, and so on. It is not going to, make anybody useless, right? It's basically make you much more productive, much better at what you already do, and it fosters that collaboration. So a friend of mine likes to say, "Hey, we need to start thinking about AI as your buddy, as your personal assistant, and that you can, just as if you were in an office talking with your colleague that sits next to you, and you're brainstorming about ideas for creating test case, for example, based on a certain requirement. You're spitballing, you're just collaborating. Think about AI as that friend, right? That buddy that's going to help you achieve different or fulfill different tasks that you have in your day-to-day as of today. So that's kind of what we're seeing, and again as part of our beta program, we've seen proof of that as well. So that's a good indication. And more specifically about some of those lessons learned over the past 6 months is that in this case, we kind of covered during the panel how developers look at those AI-powered use cases for themselves, right? They're much more open to embracing AI into their day-to-day workflows, right, into their developer workflows. And AI has proven to be great at offering additional ways of solving a certain problem that maybe the developer doesn't have time to think through, doesn't have the brain power, right, or even the skill in some cases to think through those. From a tester's perspective, we are really going to a place where if we're thinking about testing from a functional testing perspective or a non-functional perspective, where the differences in skills from a testing perspective, where you have the functional tester, the performance test engineer, the security test engineer, and so on. Those roles that today are very distinct because the skills required are very different. AI seems to be bridging the gap to help those different skill sets collaborate, or those different roles collaborate much closer and more seamlessly, with the goal of shifting all of testing to the left as much as possible. And we're seeing AI as enabling that happening. We're seeing early results for that already. And one thing that still remains as an issue, and when we cover some of that as well in the panel, is that variability of the output of a large language model is still a challenge for the testing community. There are different workarounds that we have implemented, such as caching the responses, and then if we send the same prompt, right? If we send the same input that we sent before, instead of going to the large language model asking for something to be generated based on that, we provide our, what we cached before. So that's not a solution; it's a workaround. But in certain situations, it's a good enough of a workaround, right? So kind of sharing some of the inside info, some of the lessons we have learned over the last 6 months, and that workaround has helped some of the teams overcome that skepticism in terms of whether they can trust or not, or how much they can trust or not what AI is generating for them in terms of a testing artifact. So it's really we're in the infant stage here of the possibilities for the testing community, and there's a lot. Well, let me rephrase that. We're in the nascent, the infant stages. However, there has been, you can apply AI to all use cases you can think of from a testing perspective. That's not a problem. The challenge is whether the testing professionals will embrace those use cases that are powered by AI, because of that lack of repeatability, that lack of auditability, explainability. Like Sergio mentioned, also correctness is an important critical factor. So what we're trying to focus here at Katalon is making sure that the use cases that are powered by AI are use cases that testers will embrace, right? They will trust what those the outputs are, and they will take that and augment, right? And then become or reach that hyper productivity that we keep talking about. Looking forward here, the other aspect is really, if we think about manual testing specifically, how a use case we're also exploring and are going to go in beta soon is that how can we help the manual tester or anybody doing manual testing, be able to do that much more efficiently, right? Because the whole point of test automation is to really enable the testing lifecycle to happen much faster, right? So you can release faster to production, and therefore be more nimble, be more agile for your business. Manual testing is a challenge in that goal of speed. So test automation has been the de facto solution. But what if we could use AI to help manual testing go much faster, help manual testers become hyper productive, become much more efficient, and not slow down the testing lifecycle? So that possibility is something that we're seeing already early results, that in certain cases, some teams might be okay with just having super fast manual testers, right? Not necessarily having to think about automation in the traditional sense. So those are some of the possibilities we've been exploring, and again, all about augmenting or enhancing the current capabilities of our platform. Seeing some good results so far. And then in terms of future, where things are going is really about enabling the team, the testing team or the quality engineering team, to build confidence in the outputs of AI through collaboration, right? Obviously, if you ask the user, the tester to provide everything to the AI system in order to generate good output, then it kind of defeats the purpose, right? There has to be a balance between how much you ask for that collaboration and what you get. So we've been fine tuning that in new use cases, in addition to true test that I mentioned earlier, to find that balance in a way that's effective and that's meaningful to our customers. All right, so data privacy is a huge issue that we have been dealing ourselves as we venture into the AI space. Obviously, if you leverage the open or the publicly available LLMs out there, there's only so much you can do with them, because obviously for you to get an output, you have to share data, right? And when you have customers like we do, we are not able to send data, even test case related data, test results related data, send that to a public a large language model without our customers' consent, right? And many of our large customers are basically blocking their entire teams, their entire staff, the whole company. They're blocking them from using publicly available large language models like OpenAI, Bard, right, and Google's Bard, and so on. So how do we, in that environment, make sure that we can still add value when our customers are, their own policies prevent their own employees and also their vendors of sharing their own data? So that's a challenge, a totally understandable challenge. But what we've been finding is that understanding or getting to that balance is something that is extremely hard for our customers. In this case, for you guys that are here with us in the session, and it's understandable, right? So in many large organizations that we work with, and as we have those conversations about what are we sharing, with OpenAI, for example, so that we can get automated tests back. In those conversations, we say, hey, all right, so what are your data privacy policies around large language models? And the interesting thing is that the response we get back from the security architecture team, compliance teams, is that they are literally writing those policies right now. So there's not enough experience in anybody's team, whether it's legal or security, compliance. There's not enough experience in anywhere to basically say, here's how you deal with data privacy and data sharing and securing that, because for the company to achieve the outcomes they're hoping to achieve with AI, they themselves, our customers, they have to share their data. So what's happening is we're hearing a lot of feedback, again, talking specifically about feedback we've heard during our beta program, is that those companies are creating pilot projects where they are essentially deploying open source large language models into their own premise, right, behind their firewall, secured, so that they can now fine tune that large language model with their own data, right, with their own IP, their own intellectual property. So if it's a bank, for example, they are deploying a large language model behind their firewall, highly secured, and now they're pumping data, right? They're training, they're fine tuning that large language model with the bank information, which include their IP, right, intellectual property, trade secrets, and so on and so forth. So obviously, that information is never going to go out, to a public large language model. And then what they're asking of us is that whatever we built on our side for our Katalon users, make sure that it is portable, in the sense that, hey, today we're pointing to OpenAI, right? True Test, for example, we're pointing that to interact with OpenAI, but when we have our own large language model operational and working, I want you to switch and point your solution, your Katalon solution, to our own large language model within our premises, highly secure, and so on. So that's something that has been tremendously beneficial for us, because obviously that changes the way we architect our solution, right? So that we can, whenever we go GA, whenever we release our solution to the general public, it is already ready to support our the customers that already have their own large language model. It's portable, right? So that's something that was a valuable lesson, and also humbling to learn that most of those security teams, compliance, legal, like, they are literally writing the policies right now, and it's not something that they will do, or that they are doing a one and done, right? It's something that they are continuously iterating as they learn more, just like all of us. We're all learning together. All right, cool. So what also we've learned so far is that we have seen enough evidence now. It's no longer theoretical, as I was mentioning in the beginning. We've seen enough evidence that if we apply AI to the right use cases, testers can really become hyper productive and keep up with the pace of delivery. We've seen that during our beta program, and we're really excited to get that validation, because it was something that we were questioning. Can we actually pull this off? And we are seeing results, not even early results. We have seen results, and we're really excited about that. We've seen that in general, our customers expect AI tools to provide accelerators to the organization, provide insights, and different ways to optimize their existing testing processes. So that's something that we've also been able to accomplish in terms of results so far. And again, we mentioned this in the panel earlier, but it again, very clear that AI will not replace testers. It will make them super productive, supercharge them, super testers, superhuman powers. Call it whatever you want, but it's all about making them better, right? So and for that, it requires the tester to continue to be in the driver's seat. Like in the early versions of what we were doing with TrueTest, we were basically having it operate in a very autonomous fashion. And what we've learned is that there has to be a human in the loop, right? Not only for the output to be better, but also for the solution itself to be embraced, to be adopted, right? And when the human is in the loop, the output is so much better. It can be refined, and that collaboration is something that just enriches the output. So looking ahead, where are we going here in 2024? So not basically in the next 12 months. What we're doing is we are making sure that QA teams, or quality engineering teams, testing teams, they become more comfortable in interacting with an AI solution, and hopefully get that apprehension slowly fading away. I think there's a lot of, and I saw in the chat, in the question box as well, there's a lot of interest and excitement and curiosity, no pun intended, Ben, but a lot of curiosity around, what are the use cases we can apply this? Where can I, see things working, et cetera, et cetera. But the reality is, those are the early adopters. Most organizations, large organizations that we work with, there is still a lot of apprehension, like banking, insurance, healthcare, right? Highly regulated environments. How do I even think or entertain using a large language model, right? So it's really about making sure, from our perspective, it's really about us making sure that our customers are no longer apprehensive, right? That they are becoming more comfortable. They are willing to to try new things, and our goal is really to make that process much smoother, and to make them comfortable. We also see that by partnering up, we with service providers that are creating their own large language models, or deploying their own large language models, and training, fine tuning those large language models that are specialized in specific domains. So think of a large language model for banking, financial services, an LLM for travel and hospitality, an LLM for healthcare, for example. We're seeing several global systems integrators and other service providers building that themselves to offer their services that harnesses all the power and all the data, all the intelligence from those specialized LLMs, and making sure that our solution is, as I mentioned earlier, architected to work with those is something that we've already done. So think of it, hey, if you ask ChatGPT, for example, to generate, give it a requirement from a banking system, a mortgage approval system, for example, give it to OpenAI to generate test cases, and now you give the same requirement to a specialized LLM that has been fine-tuned with banking financial services data. You can see the power in that, in the sense that the test cases generated by this specialized LLM is going to be of not infinite, but exponentially better quality in correctness, and more meaningful than a generic LLM like OpenAI. So that's kind of coming in 2024, and being ready for that is going to be paramount for our customers. And then that's how we're going to move away from that skepticism in adopting any public LLM, is that really ensure that organizations, in this case our customers, are accepting that they can trust the usage of large language models in testing, and we'll accomplish that by sharing those early success stories and use cases that will start helping people become more comfortable. And we are seeing right now the role of AI in testing kind of shifting from just that experimental level to becoming foundational. For us at Katalon, AI is becoming foundational in the platform, because we see it as the way to take our customers from their current state to their desired state, which will augment the capabilities they already leverage from Katalon. They have been leveraging from Katalon. So AI being foundational on the platform, or in other words, being inherent, being part of the platform, cutting across several use cases, is going to accelerate the journey to the future state that our customers desire. And luckily, we've already been able to see results in the past 6 months that are very encouraging, and we've gotten great feedback from different customers.